circumstance.
And the background, how was the background done?
The background was shot with a very small camera. I was working with a friend in Soho. I passing by this restaurant. The restaurant name is Balthazar, a French restaurant. And outside I say, oh, well, this restaurant looks nice, and then was quite famous in New York also. Then I blow up this, I think was only 3 megabyte picture to become the background.
And I know when I first saw this image, I couldn't help but think of the Last Supper. Did that occur to you at all?
I never want to relate this picture with Last Supper because I really have no intention to make an insult with such a great work. But I have to be honest. I think I was inspired by that pictures. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then you made a subsequent version of Nightlife in China. Is that correct?
Yes. In 2006, I was called by a curator curating this. I think is Art Shanghai, 2006. Art, or they call Shanghai Biennale. Sorry, Shanghai Biennale. And then they're asking me if I don't mind to make a Shanghai version of Nightlife. I accept immediately. Then I went to China, in Shanghai. I just get a model, volunteers working in China. In other words, this image, this set, everything was made in China, like everything.
All made in
today.
China.
All made in China.
Here's the mural, another stunning image.
Right. I was not very happy myself because I hate to copy myself to making duplicate. But over there in China, I was surprised because people welcome this work. They find us so happy. I'm willing to use Chinese people, and then the background from their Shanghai Xintiandi area as the background. I think I got more people. We're talking about collectors interesting in this work more than the Nightlife I did before in China.
Tell us about Harvest and the inspiration behind it.
In 2004, I came up with this idea. It was actually a continuation from the work I did for New York Times, my self-portrait, because I believe all artist has a freedom, has a right to picture our future. I didn't do much with the future of human that time, but I try to vision the future of some of our fellowship animals, because I think soon we should see some of the pig, using the pig to create the organ the human need, like the heart, like a liver, like a kidney, for some sick part of organ to be replaced. But we will be easy to have this pig to do this part, things for us.
These are some of the. Now you actually went to China, is that correct, to make
Yes,
this series?
I went to China because I called many farms. Only one friend of mine find a farm in China. There has 200 pigs. They allowing me to take as many pictures as I want. They allowing me to go in and out without a pass, allowing me not to check my shoes, not to wash my hand. I just walk in, go in and out, just like one of their pig, without any
So how many
problem.
days did you spend with the pigs?
I was there for 2 weeks, but I believe I took 10 shooting there.
10 days
10
shooting.
days
Mhm.
in photograph.
And I think this is the mural that we have on view, Celebration, from the series Harvest. And could you tell us a little bit about the markings on the body of the pig and what that represents?
Well, that was again, it's come out from my imagination. I see the day came, and then the pig will be the donor, and then they will be DNA decoded, and then to have each different baby pig born with a heart for gentleman A, with the liver for lady B, who are waiting to get this new heart, new eyes, new liver, even new kidneys, whatever. And then I thought that days, the easy ways, they will put a tattoo, and then the universal mark on each baby pigs. So when they grow up, after 3 months, they will know the liver belongs to A, the heart belongs to whoever or hospital that time. And then, of course, I think human is very great. They won't forget their other part. They will be marked as a ham, as a belly, as a
So basically,
bacon.
the pigs in the future will be bred such that some of their parts get eaten by humans, and some of their organs are preserved to be transplanted in humans, correct?
I don't see human would forgive that part. But on this picture, on this series, I also try to say another word is if we change the DNA to be similar to human, we are not going to change their heart. We're not going to change their organ. I think we're going to bring humans thinking, humans thought, humans mood, even the sorrow and the happiness to this animal. Those days come, then the pig were looking for humans clothes, were looking for humans entertainment. So I believe those days they will be entertained in their village or in their world. Well, this is actually the series I call I forgot the name of the series I made. The
Jungle.
Jungle. Yeah. I made this Jungle series was after I made I got the idea after I made Nightlife. As I said, I believe that jungle is the city we're living in. So I had a chance traveling to Mexico actually. So I photographed a lot the local bird animals and the foliage. So I put together the character I did for Shanghai Biennale. I made this new series.
So these are some of the same models that appear in the Shanghai version of Nightlife.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
as the mural for that series.
And then in 2008, you returned to the theme of dreams that we saw earlier in your career, and there was a specific inspiration for this body of work. You want to tell us about that?
Well, I always go back to review what I did from the past, and then look into it, find out what I missed in the group of the work I did. I believe every artist, whatever they do, they are building their work. It's like a country building an army. You need to watch everything, what you missed, and then what you can do better. And then to me, I think I had been limited working with face, working with human body. I never dare to bring in the real animal parts into my work. Then during this series, I say if I use dream for my title, I should have the freedom to do something which I wouldn't dare to do in the past.
What about, there was a literary a source of literary inspiration for this series?
Oh yes, I have a friend. Her name is Huang San San. She was a curator, and she invited me to collaborate her upcoming exhibition called The 10 Dreams. And then she invited 10 artists, and then I think half of them are Taiwanese, half of them are Japanese. And then try to collaborate to make a new work. And I joined working with one of these Japanese sculptor. And suddenly I forgot his name, really bad. And then we worked for a while, and then we both learned it was impossible to put artists to work together. And then I think that is like a fantasy. I think even using Photoshop, I just couldn't do it together. So I think everybody dropped from there, but I didn't want to drop the great idea to work with dreams. That's how I started this series.
And so you really sort of went further with fantasy than you had done at this point. And there's a couple more examples.
Yeah, I just using this series of work as a challenge to do something I couldn't do it from the past. I find out it was difficult to make it work in my work. So now I don't need too much of a excuse. I don't need much of a concept, a reason. I just do it freely, just like a dreaming, just like everything happened in our dream.
And then this is a mural you created for the series?
For that series, yes.
And then finally, this is the most recent body of work that you've completed. Tell us about your interest in the circus theme.
Well, I grew up in Taiwan back into the 50s. There was once for a while, I think American, German circus came to Taiwan, but obviously I don't have, my family is not going to take me there. So I have a lot of fantasy about the circus. I love everything happening in circus, because in circus, that's the only place human and the animal working together. They live together. They even traveling from a town to another town. I think it can be a great idea to give me an extension to work on my series of work. I made this picture was actually just because this work was showing in Shanghai, was in an art center called Tangram. Tangram Art Center has one of these wall behind their bar, away from their gallery actually. They really want to put a mural over there, and I really against it. I say, I want the mural together with the rest of the portrait, and then if you really need some picture, I will just create one for you. And then I made this one. I feel they need a picture like this, not the main mural which you have seen.
And then this is the main mural.
That's correct, yes.
Could you tell us about what's going on there and about this oversized baby?
The concept of this picture was actually start from the time I got invited to this Shanghai Biennale. I really want to do something similar like this, but for political reason, I think the curator think I go too far. The Chinese government won't like picture like this, because I see China as the new baby. I see China is getting under a spotlight, under the focus on the stage of the world. And yet China still in many terms as only a new baby, just get their tail of the hair cut out, and then just put up the Western outfit. I think Chinese, including me, still have a long way to catch up, but this concept got rejected. I still want to get this concept worked, so I started working on this series in the last few years.
And as you say, the circus is where people act like animals and animals act like people.
Yes, on stage, I think animal is the word to all these human try to use the most of their animal instinct in the way to jump, in the way to fly, but the animal dressed up like a human, riding a bike or doing all kind of things just like an animal, just like a human.
Well, let's involve the spectators, so to speak, in the dialogue. Now let's turn on the lights and invite the audience to pose some questions. So the overhead lights could go on.
Just 1 second.
Okay, do we have a microphone to pass? We do indeed.
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you. So if you'll raise your hand, we'll pass the microphone your way. Who has a question for Daniel? No questions? Well, I know he's strained his voice. Oh, we do have a question. Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's wait for the mic so that we can record it.
Well, this is more of a statement and see if you can react to it. Recently, this past couple months, I found a book called Photography Reborn, and it has some images of your work in it. And I found it intriguing. Many of the things that I read about in the book were intriguing, but one thing in particular about how digital photography has become, or in the sense of looking at digital photography, we're shocked by some of the things we see as they're unreal. They're depicting things that are impossible. But in the future, in the sense, and your talk made me think a little bit more about this, of how you're contemplating what people will evolve to, what people would be like in the future. Will digital photography become something that is just natural, that we don't take for, we'll take it for granted, or we won't see the surreal behind it, maybe?
Well, I've been asking this question for many times. So this is an important question to all of us who working or relate to photography. I believe you are a photographer yourself, maybe. I think the digital photography is just like the time when movie went to the theaters. The theater will continue. The Broadway show will be there forever, but the movie can show one film to 1 million people at the same time. The power, the convenience, everything going to take a big part of photo imaging. But the freedom of digital photo will be the only reason to make a photographers, the artists using photo as equipment to make new art.
And also, I might add that, you know, technology keeps changing, so I would imagine that, you know, what's possible today will change again in the digital media, and that we probably can't even imagine some of the things that artists will be able to do, say, 5, 10 years from now.
Well, let me just finish one of the things I said before. I said all artists has this freedom and has their right to picture the future. But as a joke, so far, none of the artists really could see the future. Even the Da Vinci, he spent a lot of his life trying to picture the future. I think we know the airplane, the way we flying, won't be the same as the way the artist thinking. But the imagination is important to scientists. I think artists should never stop thinking. I think our thinking, the future, how close to the way we think now is not important, but artists should leading this whole thing to fantasy the future. And same as a digital photo. I think digital photo is only the beginning. Trust me, everything we have seen today, your camera, you thought it's so new. Give me a break. Within 3 years, you won't be proud again. You know, you might feel, you know, why you carrying these things still walking around. But anyway, we won't know the future. Digital imaging going to bring you something more exciting. I think that's the only thing I can promise here.
Do we have any other questions?
Thanks. My question's about the idea of the alter ego of the human and the animal. And it seems in the West we have more of a negative obsession with that. I think of Circe and the swine as a prime example. And then we have like stories of werewolves and so forth. And it's usually a negative or kind of a vicious transformation. I don't know much about Chinese mythology, but Japan, like I think it's the kitsune that's part bear-like animal and part human. It's more of a positive connotation, and the dragon with the emperor and so forth. I teach, and I have a lot of students who are into anime, and have avatars and alter egos.